Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to 365 Days of Love and Miracles with A Course in Miracles. My name is Arlene Geres, and I am so glad that you are here. Please remember to listen right until the very end, because we have a special treat for you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe down below, because this helps others to find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number 268. This is our 8th lesson under the section, What is the Body? We are asked to read this section before we read today's lesson, so let's do that now. The body is a fence the Son of God imagines he has built to separate parts of his self from other parts. It is within this fence he thinks he lives, to die as it decays and crumbles. For within this fence he thinks that he is safe from love. Identifying with his safety, he regards himself as what his safety is. How else could he be certain he remains within the body, keeping love outside? The body will not stay, yet this he sees as double safety. For the Son of God's impermanence is proof his fences work and do the task his mind assigns to them. For if his oneness still remained untouched, who could attack, and who could be attacked? Who could be victor? Who could be his prey? Who could be victim? Who the murderer? And if he did not die, what proof is there that God's eternal Son can be destroyed? The body is a dream. Like other dreams, it sometimes seems to picture happiness, but can quite suddenly revert to fear, where every dream is born. For only love creates in truth, and truth can never fear. Made to be fearful, must the body serve the purpose given it, but we can change the purpose that the body will obey by changing what we think it is for. The body is the means by which God's Son returns to sanity. Though it was made to fence him into hell without escape, yet has the goal of heaven been exchanged for the pursuit of hell. The Son of God extends his hand to reach his brother and to help him walk along the road with him. Now is the body holy. Now it serves to heal the mind that it was made to kill. You will identify with what you think will make you safe. Whatever it may be, you will believe that it is one with you. Your safety lies in truth and not in lies. Love is your safety. Fear does not exist. Identify with love and you are safe. Identify with love and you are home. Identify with love and find yourself. I just love this reading. Identify with love. Do you identify with love, my friends? What we believe about ourselves, what is how we act and how we are in this world. If we see ourselves as love, we are going to project that love out into the world, onto everyone we see, and others will be attracted to this love within us. They will want to know what is going on in your life that you are so happy, that you just seem to be so full of God's love and God's light, and then we will be able to share it with others. We do not go alone. We go together, you and I. We are not the body at all. We are pure consciousness. We need these bodies in order to experience all of the joys and hardships here on earth. Through these experiences, we all eventually come to recognize that the thinking of the ego does not work. We accept that the ways of the world, such as money, success, property, and prestige, do not bring us happiness. Many of us turn towards addictive behavior in areas such as shopping, gambling, sex, drugs, and alcohol, and we find that these things do not make us happy. 12-step programs call this hitting bottom. Only when we recognize that the ways of the world do not work are we willing to open our hearts up to God. Paragraph 4, line 1 says, "The body is the means by which God's Son returns to sanity." The second step of a 12-step program says that we came to believe the power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Merriam-Webster defines sanity as soundness or health of mind. Do you feel that your mind is sound, my friends? This is one of the gifts of A Course in Miracles. This is what we came to earth to achieve. Let's read lesson 268. Let all things be exactly as they are. This lesson starts with a prayer. If you would like to close your eyes, I'll read this prayer now. Let me not be your critic, Lord, today and judge against you. Let me not attempt to interfere with your creation and distort it into sickly forms. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from its unity and thus to let it be as you created it. For thus will I be able to recognize myself as you created me. In love was I created, and in love will I remain forever. What can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? Let's talk about it. Do you know the story of the king and the cannibal? The king had a friend who he loved very much. No matter what happened, this friend always said, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. One day the king and his friend went hunting, and the king saw a deer. He took out his rifle, he took aim, and he pulled the trigger. But unfortunately, the rifle backfired. Oh, those birds are happy today. The rifle backfired, and the king blew his thumb all the way off. No thumb. His friend looked at him and he said, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Well, you can imagine the king wasn't very happy about this comment at all. The king said, how could this be good? I just blew off my thumb. The king was so angry at his friend that he threw him in jail. The friend just smiled, looked at him and said, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The next day, the king went hunting alone, and he was pondering what had happened with his friend. He loved his friend, and yet his friend was so crazy saying everything is unfolding exactly as it should. What choice did he have? He had to throw him into jail. Well, the king was so focused on what was going on in his own mind that he didn't even notice that he was straying outside of the boundaries of his kingdom, and he went right into the area of the cannibals. Well, it was a happy day for the cannibals. They were so excited to have found a tasty human. They prepared a feast. They tied the king to the stake, and just before they were about to light the fire, one of the cannibals noticed that the king was missing a thumb. Now, it was a superstition of the cannibals that they could only eat perfect bodies. And when they noticed that the king was flawed, they let him go. Well, the king was so excited, he rushed back to the castle, let his friend out of jail, and told him the story. He said, you were right. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Because I lost my thumb, the cannibal set me free. His friend looked at him and he said, not only did the cannibals not eat you, but because you threw me in jail, I wasn't with you, and I didn't get eaten either. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. I love this story because this has been true for me in my life. I have had some really, really tough lessons in life. I lost my oldest son to death. My younger son is not in relationship with me. As you can imagine, both of those are extremely painful experiences. But I can tell you, because they have both been so very, very difficult, I have had to turn to God. I could not have made it through either of those situations without God's love. When I am in my darkest moments, I like to remind myself everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Do you trust that God has a perfect plan, that everything is unfolding exactly as it should? Let's pay attention to our thoughts and come back to God anytime that we are tempted to criticize or judge ourselves or anyone or anything, my friends. Let all things be exactly as they are. Let me not be your critic, Lord, today and judge against you. Let me not attempt to interfere with your creation and distort it into sickly forms. Are you willing to look at all of God's creation as being perfect exactly the way it is? Who are we to judge God's creation? Remember, what we see out there in the world is a projection of what is going on inside of us. God's world is perfect. Let us be willing to withdraw our wishes from God's unity and thus to let God's world be as God created it. For thus will I be able to recognize my capital S self as God created me. When we withdraw our judgments from others, we also withdraw judgment from ourselves, and then we will be able to recognize ourselves as God created us to be His beautiful, beloved children, every single one of us. I am love, and you are love. Let us only see ourselves this way. I always feel a tension with these lessons. Are we to simply ignore the pain and the suffering here on earth? I think of Gandhi, and I think of Mother Teresa, and Martin Luther King, and the Dalai Lama. All of these people dedicated their lives to alleviating the suffering of others, yet they were solidly centered in God. They knew that everything is perfect in God's world. They carried God's love, peace, and acceptance within. Coming from this place, they were especially powerful, but not by bludgeoning other people into accepting their ideas, but by loving them. I believe that this is who each one of us is called to be, my friends. Let us accept our holy assignment as God's messengers of love today. Let's finish the reading. Let not our sight be blasphemous today, nor let our ears attend to lying tongues. Only reality is free of pain. Only reality is fear of loss. Only reality is wholly safe. And it is only this that we seek today. Are you willing to let go of the lies of the ego, all of the crazy things that we might hear on the news or the gossip that the neighbors want to get involved in? Let us not go there today, my friends. Do you want to be free of pain? Do you want to be free of loss? Do you want to be completely safe? Let us continually turn toward God's truth, because only reality is free of pain, only reality is free of loss, and only God's reality is completely safe. Let us only seek this today and every day, my friends. For our practice sessions today, first thing in the morning and just before we go to sleep, we want to read or listen to today's lesson and then sit in meditation for as long as we please. More is always better. The longer we sit, the more we thirst for this time with God. For our hourly practice session, often in between, and especially when we're upset for any reason at all, we simply say today's idea, let all things be exactly as they are. And then we just take a minute or two as we sit quietly and let this idea sink deep into our being. If you would like to close your eyes, I'll read this prayer now. One more time to finish today's lesson. Let all things be exactly as they are. Let me not be your critic, Lord, today and judge against you. Let me not attempt to interfere with your creation and distort it into sickly forms. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from its unity and thus to let it be as you created it. For thus will I be able to recognize myself as you created me. In love was I created, and in love will I remain forever. What can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? Amen. Amen. Thanks so much for listening right until the end, my friends. If you enjoyed today's video, please share the love. Tell someone about these videos. Encourage them to start at lesson 1 and only do one lesson a day. Are you ready for our special treat? Baby Lolita tries mountain climbing. Very dangerous. Don't jump. Don't jump. No. Oh. Have a day of embracing everything and everyone exactly as they are, my friends. I love you.